Hello, hello, time for a video. Let's see what we've got for this week. So, obviously, circumstances in Iran not so good last week, the week before, so, we haven't had as many people writing in as usual for obvious reasons, which I won't elaborate on. I'm not saying anything more, that's not my concern. However, we did have some people writing in, so we're going to talk about those now. So, problem solution question. Okay. A rise in the standard of living in a country often only seems to benefit cities rather than rural areas. What problems might this difference cause? How might these problems be reduced? Okay, so take a look at my introduction first, and I'll show you how I paraphrased that. Then we'll take a look at yours. Okay. So now, if the rubric says something like "some people think, some people say," then you can paraphrase it like according to some. If it says "some people think," you can say according to some. So here it's simply a statement. It doesn't mention whose opinion this or statement this might be. So what you could do is I have done here. It has been argued. It has been said. You could do it like that. It has been said. It has been argued that rising living standards. Now you can see rising living standards. I paraphrased a rise in the standard of living. Now, I've mentioned this before, I'll say it again, and no doubt I'll say it again and again in the future. You don't need to have a synonym for every single word. Sometimes it's impossible. Sometimes the synonyms that you might use don't really work. They're not interchangeable. So you can change the word form and change the word order. I've made a video or two about this. You can find them on a Paraton on YouTube as well. So rising the standard of living in a country, we can leave out that part, often only seems to benefit cities. So I changed that to appear. Standards appear to only be of benefit to cities. So it's pretty similar, but I've changed seems to appear. Appear to only be of benefit instead of only seems to benefit. Okay. Rural areas, I've changed to the general countryside because that is a synonym. So what I have to do now, answer the questions. Okay. So what problems might this distinction or difference cause? Well, this imbalance may well result in more people moving to cities for a better life, causing overcrowding and other issues. So that's what I would be talking about in paragraph 2. About living standard, it benefits the cities, not the countryside. So as a consequence, people move to the cities to take advantage of these rising living standards, which results in overcrowding, etc. Second question, how might these problems be reduced? Well, as I say, a possible solution might be for government intervention to redistribute wealth. So paragraph number 3, I'll be talking about that, how we could reduce these issues, some kind of state intervention, maybe having a quota on people moving into cities, maybe some kind of wealth redistribution scheme, universal basic income, etc., however you want to go about it. Okay, so that's what I would do for that introduction. That's just a general idea. So we've got a couple here. I don't know why we've got two. I think she might have. I'll move it down so it's on a different page. Yeah, I think Amit wrote this one and then she wrote this one. Well, she wrote this afterwards because empty sentence. In this essay, I will discuss some of the problems associated with this paradigm. Well, it's not a paradigm, is it? And propose some solutions. As I've said time and time again, examiners don't like these empty sentences. It doesn't tell the reader. In this essay, I will answer the questions as I've been told to do. Why not just simply answer the question? I've shown you the criteria before. I don't have to do it again. Band 9, clearly, directly answer the question. So in this essay, I'm going to answer the question. Well, simply answer. Okay. So it has been argued by many. Well, right. So many, I wouldn't have used that because it doesn't say anything about the number of people who actually stated or argued that. So, as I said, you could say it has been argued, and we don't have to say argued by whom, but it's not many, so I wouldn't use that. Growth in the living standard. Now, we don't need a definite article. Growth in living standards is only advantageous to an urban area. Well, it's not advantageous. It seems that living standards only rise, so it's not quite the same as advantageous to an urban area, and it has less impact on rural areas. Okay, so far so good. And then in this essay I will blah blah blah. Now the second one, this one is better because the main problems of this issue are poor quality of health and education services in the countryside. Now, so you'd have to specifically explain this because it's talking about it's only advantageous, or it only affects the urban areas. So you'd have to say something about those. They have better services than in the countryside. A viable solution would be developing or development of the countryside. The development or development of the countryside. So you'd have to say a little bit more about that. Okay, so what's this next one? It is mostly seem. Okay, it mostly seems that the standard of living in the cities are rising, and it making benefits. What this pronoun continuous verb structure, and it is. Let's change it to benefiting cities compared with the villages around the country. That's slightly better. I think a major problem is increasing city populations, because it's talking about cities in general, while decreasing or a reduction in the number of people in rural areas. Make it a plural because it's a compound noun. In general, I mean an abstract noun. So abstract noun, areas, populations, or villages, etc. Which could make a lot of bad consequence too. Okay, well, make a lot of consequence. Well, you don't really make consequence if you're going to use that as a verb noun, which could cause or which could have a negative impact or have a negative effect. I think that would work better in terms of English and collocation, which could have my terrible typing, could have a negative effect or impact. Oh, sorry, my typing. Oh, right, okay. So to reduce these problems, and that should be a capital, to reduce these problems, the only important key is to provide for facilities for those who, not for whom, those who are living in villages, and taking care to allocate more benefits around rural. This is a bit of a run-on sentence. To reduce these problems, the only important key is to provide facilities for those who are living in villages and taking care to allocate more benefits around the rural areas where people more needed to be staying there. Right, well, I'm not really sure what to make of this. Where more people need to stay there. I'm not rewriting your whole sentence, so that needs a bit of work. It's a bit long. I would probably cut that down. That could be more concise. Okay, but still, apart from the general English part, not too bad. Okay, apparently, well, it doesn't say anything about apparently, really, does it? It says a rise in the standard of living often only seems to benefit the cities. What are we? Have been mostly risen in cities. Okay. So the standards of living in a country have apparently mostly risen in cities rather than in the countryside. Because I don't think we would use countrysides. It's usually the countryside, which has led to many problems. Right. So this seems to have conflated sentence 1 and 2, and it looks quite long. It's almost a run-on sentence. So if I read it, apparently the standards of living in the country have been mostly risen only in cities rather than countrysides, which have led to many problems like not having access to a proper health and education system and job opportunities as well, leading to massive uncontrolled migration to cities. Too long, you could break that down into 2. Sentence 1, simply rephrase the topic. Apparently, living standards only impact, or rising living standards only impact on cities rather than the countryside. This has led to many problems such as access to health, opportunities, jobs, and mass. Now, I wouldn't put all those things. So you've got what? Health, education, jobs, uncontrolled migration. Now, for your introduction, I would just mention 1 or 2 and not have all 4. I mean, if you want to mention 4 in paragraph 2, you can do. But you'd have to. But I wouldn't put all this amount of detail in the introduction. Okay. Rural areas citizens would not stop evacuating their birthplace. This, in terms of collocation, in terms of paraphrasing, the collocations don't evacuating their birthplace. Rural areas citizens. You mean villagers. So I see what you're trying to do here, but it's a bit of a long-winded, not very natural way of paraphrasing. So I would work on that. Sentence 3. Okay, what's this next one here? It is argued that advantages of an improvement in life quality appear more frequently in urban areas, than countryside and villages. I believe the problem deeply roots, what we'd probably say is deeply rooted, in the inequality of technology distribution. Okay, that sounds good. And also residents' culture. Residents, what? In the cities, in the countryside? Which could be, I'd be tempted to eliminate that. Because it seems not to be connected. So I believe the problem is deeply rooted in the inequality of technology distribution. And then paragraph 2, you'd have to explain what you mean. Paragraph 3, so this is the answer to question 3, which could be alleviated by progressing. Well, can you use that? Progressing technological and communicational facilities fairly. That's a bit awkward. Advancing, maybe, instead of progressing, might work a little better, but I see where it's going. So that's not too bad. Relatively clear. And this one's pretty short. An increase of standard can usually cause to prior living. Don't really know what that means. Usually cause to prior living in a city rather than the countryside. This phenomenon may cause many problems, and here you're supposed to tell me what they might be in brief. But with some considerations, the government or governments can decrease them. So, again, it's another one of these empty sentences that I tell you not to write, because it doesn't tell the reader anything. Oh, there's some problems, but they can be fixed. Okay. Growth of standard living in a nation often only seems to aid metropolis. Well, I wouldn't use metropolis. It's not. Is it Superman? Metropolis. Often only seems to aid metropolis rather than non-urban areas. Main problem caused by this phenomenon is the migration of rural populations to cities, resulting in okay, sentence 2, very good. Sentence 3, the most viable solution to this predicament is the focus of government. So, okay, that's good. It's a little bit wordy, but not too bad. Not too bad. It's reasonably clear. So I would have maybe reworked sentence 1 just a bit. Sentence 2 is good. Main problem is migration resulting in overpopulation and its related consequences. What's the solution? Focus of government in development. Well, you could have just said the most viable solution is development of infrastructure and employment opportunities in rural areas. So you could have cut sentence 3 down a little bit. It is a little bit long, but still not too bad. Not too bad at all. So there we go for this week. So I'll post the video, I'll share it around Apparat on YouTube, etc. And I'll post a new topic in the group. Okay, excellent. So I'll see you next time.